Hi everyone, I'm Janet, and I like to call myself the life happiness consultant. That took me years to come down to. And so, what I do is I help busy mums get to blur from being able to step into who they truly are as a woman so that they can be the best role model that they choose to for their boys. And in my day to day job, I do three things mainly. Uh, I'm a professional organizer, an image consultant, and a hypnotherapist. And I intertwine all these three into one system so that they can achieve this inside out transformation that's easy. And I think the magic is the connecting pieces and the where am I from? You can tell from my accent, I'm from Australia, but I actually was born in Hong Kong. So spent 30 years in Australia and I spent 3 years in Hong Kong. And as an alchemist and also a equal connector and a very close to that, a nurturer, I find it really interesting to really show up as my authentic self with putting.
And what I want to hear from you, right, is when you did that first quiz. And you know what, actually some alchemists join SMA without doing the quiz, which is always interesting in itself too, because you kind of just you went, okay, I get it. Who am I, right? But when you first heard the strengths and challenges of the alchemist, what was your first big aha?
I really resonated with everybody who said, it's a permission slip not to finish everything. I've got so many ideas and it's like I haven't got it together. It took me years to get to where I am now, just weaving these three things together. And it was just overcoming the shame of, oh my gosh, what is she doing? She used to do this, but now like, where are you heading to life? But then when I saw this alchemist thing, I was like, oh, right, I'm here to change the world. And it's not in a sense of through anger or anything, but it's really owning my space and being at peace with saying, hey, this is what I do, and I'm unapologetic feeling this way. And I think the biggest aha tied to that was there were different layers. So the first layer for me was, okay, as a Chinese Australian, how do I teach people to show up culturally? But then I had to realize that other than healing my own wounds, it was also generational wounds from my dad, who grew up in Hong Kong, and there were cultural differences that he had to overcome as a Chinese person, and the money wounds that came from that is like the second class of their own country, their own city. And now coming back to Hong Kong, it's like coming full circle and claiming that we're all human, and their money making and doing business is business without borders. And this is something that had happened years ago for our ancestors, doing business without borders all over the world. And this is something that I hope to convey in my work.
I want to hear though about some of how these sabotages of your archetype, especially before you knew what they were. So it could be either, that you commit to the wrong thing and then realize your mistake, or, you buy a million domain names, or, you've been trapped like my friend, or, you haven't read stuff and you've made mistakes. Where has that kind of been a little bit of your downfall in your business?
I really resonated with what Mattia and Stephanie just said, the love-hate relationship and also the imposter syndrome. So I think the connecting piece with me was trying to show up as the authentic me without trying to be somebody else when I'm doing image consulting for like really wealthy people, and then feel, a little bit of jealousy and envy, and then feel shit for, why should I feel that way? Because I'm a therapist, I should be doing my own work. And it's like, wait, get that out of my mind. I'm here to serve. And then I was like, wait a minute, but they're so wealthy. Maybe I should charge for them. And maybe I should charge a little bit more. And then I feel guilty for wanting more money. And it's that duality of feeling like I'm always never enough to just be myself, and always putting a lid on how how I should be doing things and why I should be doing things, instead of just being me and claiming that, no, I don't adult, right? I don't finish things, and be okay with just being a kid sometimes and needing help sometimes. And so that's one of my biggest challenges as well.
And here's what I want to hear from you. I want you to think of baby you, okay? Because Janet really brought up that really interesting thing about being a kid. And I think sometimes alchemists feel like they're in arrested development of going, people won't take me seriously. Grown-ups won't listen to what I have to say. I'm not like, and that whole imposter syndrome thing around, you know, your childlike ideas and spirit. It could be something like that. And tell me, when did this alchemy show up? How did it show up for you? And what negative feedback did you get about your alchemy? And it could have been like, oh God, they're doing it again. Oh, and yet another thing. Or, you know, put that away or stop daydreaming or something like that, because I want us to be able to connect with when you realize that this wasn't a valuable thing, or when you thought that this is something that has to stay in your childhood, or it's, you know, it's not just an innate sense of who you are, that is valuable in the world. Does that make sense? And go wherever you want to on that. But I want to hear a story about your younger self and how the alchemy was always there.
The memory that comes to me is when I was in year 5, year 6, when I had a private English tutor, and every week we needed to write this piece of creative writing. And one day this story just came through that was really brilliant. It was about a butterfly, but it was a metaphor for coming out as who you truly are. And I paralleled that with the Indigenous people of Australia. And the tutor at the time, she really loved it. But then I realized really quickly that she was trying to manipulate my ideas, because she said, oh, so she said to my mom, you know, oh, Janet should really go for these creative workshops and do this and do that. But really, she was trying to foster my talents in her own way. And it took me a long time to find my own voice again, especially because I really relied on her. She was my private English tutor. Like, of course, I speak fluent English now, but back then it wasn't my mother tongue, so to say. And how I really came to full circle with embracing my full voice again is through writing and getting people to find their own voice. But it was also finding my own voice through that and claiming that I can do this for my own business, instead of just giving my power away and feeling really sad and crap about it. But on the journey, I found that this was my first opportunity to really see myself for who I am. And now it's giving this gift to myself again.
The thing that I love about alchemists is that your power doesn't wane over time. Your power only gets greater over time, which means, it makes me want to cry, which means that you guys can be the wise grandmother for other people, because you're only going to get more and more powerful. And that impact is going to be so important for the baby alchemists who really need to hear that, or for people who don't have alchemy as a natural part of their life. And you can help them to see that that's really important and valued in the world. It makes me want to cry thinking about it. But it is, because it is valuable. And I think hopefully we're turning that corner into valuing things like that more again, not just the dollars and cents. So I want you guys to type this one in actually, or you can just show me by show of hands. How many domain names do you own? Okay, so Stacey's got 3, 2. Okay, yep, 7. All right, 2. Okay,
I don't know. It's more than 10.
Okay, that's cool. That's good. That's fine. So I just want to shift gears for the next 15 minutes and talk about, you and the world of entrepreneurship and the world of courses, because when I was talking to the accumulators, there's some really interesting stuff about what makes them join a program versus what really turns them off a program. And so sometimes I find that alchemists, they just feel into it and it's like, yeah, cool. But is there something that you see either, from joining SMA or joining boot camp, or things that have turned you off where you haven't joined other programs, or you took a while to join mine? I don't know. Is there something you just go, yeah, if I see that, it's not for me? Or if I see that, I go, yes, that is for me. And we don't have to go in any order, just literally just put your hand up or unmute yourself.
What made me join this program was actually, it was recommended by another business peer who I respected. But what really made me push by was actually Sacred Money Archetypes over Money Bootcamp, because I didn't know what my sabotages were. And I was at a phase where I really needed to find out who I was in order to make money on my own terms. And what I love about joining the whole shebang was that it was easy and straightforward. It wasn't over the top with so many bonuses. And I love that you mentioned in, I think the last coaching call, the coaching call before, and you said you can actually half-ass it. And it just took so much burden off me as an alchemist, because I start so many things and I don't finish things. And you just giving us the permission slip to half-ass it was like, oh, great, I can half-ass it every year. And that's why I stayed, and that's why I joined.
So, are you a ruler, a connector, or a maverick? Hang on, maybe you're more of a romantic or a celebrity. Take the money personality quiz right now and find out which of the 8 money archetypes you are. And then I'm going to teach you how to profit from your strengths and make money in your business based on your natural personality. Click below and find out more.